Hello, hello. How are we all doing? I'm doing well myself. Thanks for asking. I hope that my audio is okay. I trust you guys, as always, to let me know if there's any issues with my audio. My studio is constantly being rearranged for whatever purpose I'm using it for in the moment, and so sometimes things get a little bit changed. So please let me know if anything's too loud, too quiet, can't hear anything, window's wrong, You know the drill. Welcome back. We're getting closer to the new year. So we're gonna chill out a little bit. Not gonna do anything super crazy like last time. I think that was maybe a little bit too much information too quickly. What's up, Mark? What's up, Pavo? What's up, Mark? What's up, Simple Sam? Todilas? I look intelligent, Nathan. Yeah, so I was gonna mention, because I got the old glasses on. I went to go put my contacts in, and for those of you who wear contacts, you'll know what I'm talking about here. I have a little activated charcoal bit in my contact case, and that I guess expired, and so it didn't neutralize the hydrogen peroxide in my contact solution, and I put hydrogen peroxide in my eyes, so you can't really see it anymore, but they were looking pretty red and scary earlier. I'm kind of glad that went away for our stream. didn't want to do this whole thing with demon eyes. Audio sounds good. Thanks, Bill. Good to see you again as well. Catch you at our 343 studio stuff. All right, sorry, I'll stop chatting. I do want to remind you guys though that we do have a giveaway as always this week. It's a Soundtoys Decapitator tool. It's a really solid plugin from those guys. Definitely like an industry standard tool you'll see in many studios on many different recordings, so definitely a solid one. Today we're gonna be doing something, and you've heard me say it every single stream, a little bit different, and I will have a timer on the screen, so Simple Sam, align your food with the timer on the screen, and maybe that'll help you not burn it this time, right? So you're going to see the streamer window just momentarily. I just want to make sure that I got the timer up on the screen. I don't. Oh no. Oh no. Wait, what? Oh, I get it. I'm on the wrong tab. It's fine. Streamer? Yeah, there we go. All right, cool. So Ableton, hopefully we see Ableton. I would hope. I gotta switch my audio outputs so y'all can hear it as well. All right, there we go. Now we should be cruising. So, yeah, it was a little painful, Sam. Yeah, Decapitator is great. If you don't have it already, I would definitely shoot for this raffle. All right, cool. So today we're getting a little bit closer to the holidays, and I actually am in the boat of I like a lot of Christmas music and various holiday music out there if Christmas is not the one that you celebrate. And so, you know, I grew up listening to like George Winston piano tracks, and so that's kind of where I'm coming from here. But I enjoy every year taking a holiday song and flipping it into a piece of more, you know, modern sounding music. You know, picking some like electronic genre or something. So we're going to do that here. And I've chosen, oh yeah, the timer. I've chosen Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies because one is one of my favorites. I chose Tchaikovsky then. You saw that. It's one of my favorite Christmas pieces or holiday pieces. I don't even know if this was like written for the holidays. I don't know my history. Leave me alone. But it's also not too tough to flip into a more traditional piece of music. Although we are going to have to do a couple of crafty things, which you might, you know, as I play this here, some things that we need to do. But you'll also see that this piece of music in piano format is fairly short. So there's a lot of different parts for us to work with here. I'm going to play this back for you just with the basic Ableton grand piano. But yeah, the idea here today is that we're going to spend an hour flipping this piece of music into a piece of future bass. So we're going to try and take this a little bit electronic, put this into a genre that maybe, you know, a little bit more geared towards dancing. So I'm going to play it through. I'm going to start my timer and we're going to get going. I don't want to waste any time here. So for those of you who've never heard this before, let me play this back. This is around the tempo that the song is usually played at, but you know, this has been in the public domain for a long time. There's a ton of different variations of this. So I'll just play this momentarily. Let me know about this audio. I bet that's pretty quiet. Okay, so there you go. I'm sure a lot of us have heard that before. This MIDI that we're looking at, I downloaded this off the internet. Don't give me credit for putting this together because I didn't. But if we take a look, like a pretty close look at this, you can tell this is perfectly quantized, right? There are very few instances where a note, can you play this? I can play this, not start to finish because I never actually took the time to learn it and memorize it, commit it to memory. But it looks harder than it is to play, I promise. It's actually a little straightforward. There's a lot of like really close movement, so you're only shifting fingers around by a little bit here. So I downloaded this MIDI off the internet. There's a ton of MIDI for music in the public domain. It saves us a lot of time when we're doing something like this, and we're going to be changing this around anyway. So, you know, not too much to worry about there. But what I did want to point out, I just mentioned that this is perfectly quantized, right? All of these notes are very much aligned. So this already sounds kind of robotic. I've used a couple of different Tchaikovsky MIDIs for this track in the past, and having one that's a little bit more humanized, like somebody probably recorded it in with a piano originally, is usually going to give you a better, you know, starting point. However, we're going for electronic music here, and so we're going to, you know, stick with this perfectly quantized version because I think that will end up being a-okay. So, without further ado, let me start our timer, which means you're going to see a big timer window momentarily, I think. And we'll get cracking. Last time I did one of these time challenges, I noticed a couple of weird things. One, the timer in OBS seemed to like only update like every 5 minutes or something like that. It wasn't really being so consistent, so we'll see how that works. But just bear in mind, it is running in the background consistently. It's not. All right, well, it seems to be working now, so we'll rock with it. I don't know. Sometimes maybe it stutters a little bit. Last time I did one of these, I didn't complete it. I definitely didn't get as far into the piece of music as I wanted to. So I'm going to try and talk less, make more music, talk less here, right? So, all right. Some of you might have already pieced together that there's a problem with me just jumping into this piece of music right away and starting to produce it here. Actually, maybe not. It looks like they've already committed it. So usually these MIDIs are not quite in time. OBS time machines. Not quite in time or not in the same meter, and we have to do some interesting tempo things to get our meter to shift properly. However, it looks like here we've been kind of saved from that ordeal. So I think we're all right. So I'm going to start with instruments. I know I've mentioned before I usually start with some rhythmic stuff, but you know, I think because of the fact that this is future bass, we're not really going to be very percussive heavy, not in this one in particular. And so I want to get, you know, some of my parts down first. So we're going to immediately think laterally, right? Like I really want to, that's not laterally, isn't it? I got that backwards. We're going to think wide, right? We're going horizontal with this one. I don't want to go too deep and spend a lot of time focusing on one part. I really want to get an idea for a track out there. So we're going to do a couple of things. One of the reasons why this is my favorite piece of, my favorite ballets, one of my favorite pieces of holiday music is it's kind of dark, right? Like it's meant to represent, you know, like snow in the night, but like it's also very kind of spooky and very kind of like, you know, heavy in the major side of things. So I do really like this, and we're going to lean into that. And so I'm going to get some spooky sounds. It's going to be a spooky holiday song. And you've seen my Omnisphere before. This usually comes out when I'm looking for speed, full of insane presets, which I think is a main reason why a lot of people pick this tool up. The actual synthesis stuff you can do in here is also, you know, insanely in-depth, but there's when you can almost do everything all at once, how do you make a decision? I think a lot of people use this just for the ease of all of these pre-made sounds, right? So I'm only really going to be using this for a couple of things. I'm going to try and design some sounds because, you know, I don't want to cheat through the whole thing, but we'll see what I can get through. I just want some sort of kind of atmosphere from here. So you see we have a couple folders: textures, playable, texture, soundscapes, and noisescapes. These are all going to come with kind of just sometimes tonal, sometimes atonal, like pads essentially. Here, things like this. Like that's a little too scary for what we're going for. This is fine. Sounds like, you know, like a holiday market running in the background, right? So I'm just going to add a bit of this. We'll probably get rid of it eventually. I find with these, you don't necessarily want to have them reset themselves because they often have a bit of an attack. So we're just going to extend this MIDI note out very long. They usually loop. Cool. So we're going to let this happen for like a bar or two before we actually start the song. We'll have some like atmospheric stuff happening here. We'll start at one bar in. Cool. So now we need a synth that's going to take over this. And remember, future bass. So I want to think kind of synthetic, but I also want to think kind of organic as well. So I have a couple of sounds that I've made myself. Some of them I'll use, some of them we'll make from scratch. But I have an idea for what this instrument can be, because I have this string sound that kind of reminds me of the Plum strings in like You and I. Is that the name of the song? Oh no, I'm forgetting the name of the song. But if you know Flume, then you kind of know what I'm talking about with the string sounds. I might actually layer this with a real string, but it's really just a soft synth ran through a whole bunch of reverb and then filtered around so that it doesn't come out as a full frequency instrument. And so here's what's cool about this. We could always change the key of the song if we want to, but having this MIDI here makes things so much easier for us to work with, right? So I can just copy in what I'm looking for, and we can start to copy around what we want, right? So I'm going to break these things up, which is why I like having this kind of one instrument style MIDI instead of what you might find when you download MIDI from the internet, which gives you a bunch of individual MIDI files for each instrument. Because I'm going to copy voices out of the parts here and put them into different instruments, right? So we're going to introduce a bass that's holding down this E note, right? So this is just, it's sustained, right? We have this oblique motion going on with the chords up against that one single, oh, you and me. Yes, thank you, Mark, you and I. I'm a Flume stan. Yeah, that's good. Flume is amazing. So yeah, we're holding down this E note. I want to do that with a different instrument. I don't want to do that with the violin sounds here. And we're also going to let that be a sustained note instead of a little staccato note bouncing back and forth, kind of like what it is in the original. So I'm going to make this bass because I'm going to go for something kind of simple that's fairly easy to put together, which is a phase bass. And there's a couple different ways of doing this, but it's similar to the way that you would make a soft synth or a Hoover. So we're going to use fairly harmonic wave shapes, so squares, saws, things like this, right? Played in the lower register. Let me fix our default envelope. And I want to add more voices here that are a little detuned from each other, right? So we'll add a bit of detuning up on the second oscillator, just a little bit, not too much, and then a little bit down on the first oscillator, and then we'll turn our sub oscillator on so that we have something in the pure tone, kind of holding that down a little bit. Oh, we got bots? Oh man, we've grown up to get bots in the chat. Oh, we're becoming a real YouTube channel. All right, sorry. So now that we have this very harmonically present sound that's kind of detuned from itself, do you hear and also see on the EQ how it's kind of moving around a little bit? Kind of like sounds the sound of a phaser, right? So we're going to cut those high frequencies out, but their existence is important because they have an effect on the whole sound, right? So when I cut those out, it's going to be this kind of nice moving sub bass. Now I can take this a step further and make it a little bigger by using our unison tool here. I don't want to go too crazy with this, so I'm probably just going to use two voices here and then separate them not too far, but that's going to widen our signal, right? But if you've heard me or any of the other streamers talk about doing that with the low end, it can be kind of risky, right? Because if we have stereo separation in the sub frequencies, there's a higher chance for them to cancel each other out. So the new Ableton has a safety net for this. In our utility tool, we have a bass mono button. So essentially this just forces things under this frequency that we set it to stay mono and pure. So we're going to be able to hear now if this causes any sort of phasing issues with our low end. We could also use our EQ8 in mid-side mode to filter out or cut out some of the low end in the stereo field. I don't really know if we want to do that. So I'm going to let the utility tool take care of this. But as I said before, we really want to filter out these higher frequencies. Right? There we go. Now you can hear this sort of like phasing, moving sub bass. I'll tell you right now, my upper harmonics here are stronger than I want them to be. So I want to add a little bit of low end boost to this. I'm looking for that sub harmonic to be a little bit more present. So I'm going to do the lazy thing and add a bit of a shelf and turn this whole thing down because we're clipping. We can switch this to mono while we're here as well. Yeah, so this is the lazy thing to do. Absolutely. Also, my headphones are bad, so I'm probably overdoing this, but that's all right. There's better ways of doing this. There's better ways of changing the balance of our sound here, but this is going to be okay for our purposes. And so you can tell, even though I'm isolating this down to some of the lower harmonics, this is still a lot more present and kind of textured than just a basic sine sub or like a basic 808 would be. All right, Thomas coming in to ban the bots. All right, so like I said, I'm going to hold this E note down at the bottom, just kind of consistently. And this is going to cover what the violin was doing here. Just get rid of it. right? So now we're starting to hear it. And this arrangement, it changes a lot because it's a piece of classical music. I'm going to do more looping than that, right? I kind of want this to repeat once. So I'm going to duplicate time here. And that's going to kind of require me to extend the length of our sound effect here. While we're here, we should add some EQing to this. Little present in these mid frequencies. What is the proper way to boost that low end while managing mids multiband compression? There's a variety of things you can do, Mark. So personally, it comes down to like, what's your favorite tool and which one do you prefer to use? But for something like this, maybe other than doing like a big EQ boost like this, we could use a multiband saturator, which I oftentimes find to be, the trick. To be fair, they do sometimes come with phasing issues. So I'm probably going to place this to the left of our utility tool, which is kind of our safety net there. This is my favorite multiband saturator, right? We can switch this to multiband mode, and then I can give the low frequencies different amounts of saturation from the mids and the highs, which means I'm going to saturate everything, but the low end can get a bigger boost here. This also gives us unique mixing control over, the amplitude here. So it's kind of like an EQ as well. Compressor would work, multiband compressor would certainly work, but it's not really going to change the harmonics, the texture of the sound. So if you're really, really keen on the way that it sounds, then yeah, using that multiband compressor is probably the way to go, because this saturator is going to add color and texture to the bass here, right? The other thing you can do is use like a low-end resonance tool. So my go-to is Little Labs VOG. However, BX Boom, BX Subfilter, I think that's actually free. BX Subfilter, mind you, is free. Kind of does what this does. But it essentially really targets the sub frequencies and just adds, a little bit of resonance to it to make them, resonate further, resonate harder. So I don't need all of these. This trash saturator will be enough. And this is where, this might be subtle through the internet, but we can see the mids being saturated is really all this stuff. I might even choose to oversaturate these and then mix in that distortion at a really small amount, all right? If we want more of that, which is cool. I could also automate this later on, which I actually might do. We'll add a tiny bit there because that adds a bunch of higher frequencies that weren't in the sound before. But here's our low frequency one. There you go. Now you can really hear that low end sub resonant is much stronger than it was before, right? Big volume discrepancy, so we can balance this a bit. But you can hear without and then with. It's pretty handy, right? Maybe I even put this before this thing because we added that buzz, right? And then instead of automating the trash, I could just automate our frequency there. No, that's the wrong thing to do. Back on the other side. And for now, we'll get rid of the mix on that mid. We'll just automate that if we want that to come in over time. So there you go. Oh, Bill just put Voice of God in his basket last night as checkout. That's one of my favorite tools of all time. Kick drums, basses, vocals. I mean, it was originally created for voices. I'm fairly certain. It's just an amazing resonance tool. It sounds so good. Definitely takes a sample and very much enhances it, kind of like increases the input quality. All right, cool. Loud violin. I'll turn that down. Now I have a couple of things I can automate here on this violin sound. I have our reverb mix, which I could pull back from to make this a little bit more staccato, right? Simple Sam, Voice of God is that bass resonance tool I was just bringing up there, that little black one that only had a couple knobs on it. I also have the filter here, cutoff 8. Which you can hear has a lot of that high end in it. So this is what I think I'm going to automate over time. So I'm going to pull that back a bit. Automate this in. Right? And now the song's going to kind of start. So we'll bring in some more of what's going on here. Don't forget that I do want to separate these voices, right? So once again, we're gonna pull, the bottom sounds like bees. We're gonna pull the bottom half of this out for now. We're kind of taking this as we go, right? We're gonna pull it out. I'm gonna copy it, but we're gonna pull it out for now. because we want these sounds just doing this, right? And in this bass, we want the bass being taken care of, but we certainly don't want the rest of this. We want this to be a new sound. So we're gonna copy our extra chords here, including empty space, so that it's easier to paste later. And then we'll need to change our bass note there, but we want a new instrument now that's taking care of the mid harmonies, right? So we'll probably do something a little bit pluckier. So I do actually have kind of a sound in mind. We'll see if we like it. Did I even save it? Maybe I didn't save it. Sure didn't. It's fine. Could probably make it again. Oh, those are totally bots for sure. Okay, so this was originally a bass sound, so we'll get rid of some of the stuff that's really focused on making this a bass sound. Turn off our arpeggiator. Is it still in mono? Yeah, it is. We'll get these into a register they can actually be played in. Right, so see they're really distorted. That's my fault. It's because of what I'm doing here with these Sound Toys tools. Now, this is a note to make actually, because this is very relevant to, well, a little bit of what's on the giveaway this week, right? Don't forget, it's Decapitator by these guys. Their like analog circuit modeling is fantastic, and the way that I kind of demonstrate that is by cranking our input gain to the point where we pull just complete amount of distortion from the tool. And because of how nice the coloring is and the amount of different like style choices they give you in that drop down menu, it gives you a very, very nice coloring onto that distortion, like in a way that a lot of other even saturators don't really do. And so you can see here in our crystallizer tool, I've got my input cranked way up, output cranked way down, and then similarly in the Echo Boy, input cranked way up and saturator all the way up. So I'm pulling a lot of distortion just by driving this crystallizer and this Echo Boy, which are both pretty much like delay processors, right? We have like essentially a cyc delay up here and a basic delay down here. So because I'm using these no longer as a bass, but as a set of chords, I need to pull back from some of this distortion, because you can hear that that's just too much. So we'll get it out of our crystallizer and we'll get it out of our saturator a bit. There we go. It's a lot cleaner. It's very percussive sound, which is cool. I think we can use that to our advantage. But I do really want to get some reverb on there. So we'll use our trusty Valhalla vintage verb. You've seen me use this on stream before for sure. I mean, think about what this music is. Reverb definitely makes sense for Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies. Right. So I'm going to add some delay to this while we have these open. Might as well. It's kind of what they're here for in the first place. So we'll increase our echo time here. This is kind of what I was going for. Filter out that delay a little bit. Right? Okay. So let's kind of keep working on this chunk here. I'll pull this out. We definitely want this in the bass, right? So we'll pull that out, put that in the bass. All right, let's see where we're at. So we're going to do the exact same thing here. And this is going to kind of function as our main section, right? I'm going to actually add some drums here once we get some of these sounds where we want them. So let me just copy our MIDI around and make some adjustments to it as we've been doing, right? So this functions as our bass MIDI. So I'm using Shift to highlight multiple things at once, just to copy it out of there so that I can then go into our bass MIDI here, paste it where it needs to go, shift to the right octave. What happened to our filter? What? What? Whoa! Anybody have any idea why the heck that just happened? I mean, this got cranked. You can hear it, but like, what? I didn't open this. I didn't do this. I didn't touch this mix. That's really strange. We're gonna pretend like that didn't happen. Right, this is a little too low, so we're gonna have to pull this up, which is fine because then it walks kind of right back down to where we were. Okay. So this is kind of functioning as our build up a little bit, right? So let's put some drums in here before we go too far away and get too lost. Again, I'm trying to do this kind of quickly. Wait a second. You don't see me anymore. Where did I go? What is happening today? All right, that should be me back. Bill Bancroft asks, does UAD have any verbs that you like? Yeah, they definitely do. One of the reasons why I don't use the reverbs often from UAD outside of like engineering stuff is they're very heavy on the UAD units, so you don't really get to use much at once. And a lot of the reverbs they have in their list are like very specialized, right? So the Capitol Records concrete reverb room is the Capitol Records reverb, or the Capitol reverb here in the list. It's very specific, right? It's not like a do everything reverb. It's got its very specific kind of uses and styles. Real verb is like a real verb, right? This is meant to give you a lot of control over, little aspects of a recording room, like the material, the walls and the carpet's made out of, and the shape of things. So this gives you a very authentic style, like convolution reverb. And then we have Dream Verb, which is a little bit more experimental. Like there's a bunch of them. Pure Plate is a really solid plate reverb. So they're good for sure. They're just very kind of heavy on the units. And, and so for, stuff like this, I usually leave those to the mixing side of things. However, if you're looking for, some really solid pickups, I think my first choice would be the Lexicon reverbs before I even got any of the other ones from UAD. These just sound so incredible, and they have a really wide variety of uses, and also very sought after as far as just in common music. So those are probably what I would dub my favorite. But my Valhalla vintage verb is so light on the CPU. I like using that for speed. I'm doing terrible on time. I'm really bad at this, guys. I'm gonna have to reformat the way that I do the beat the clock stuff, because I'm not beating the clock. The clock is beating me. So with that said, I'm going to get some drums from my favorites list to try and save some time. I want something kind of basic here and soft. I don't really want my big drum yet. That's fine. It's kind of big, but it's fine. And once again, just to keep things quick, I'm going to do everything in one drum rack. Usually I would be splitting these things up for sure. But no one's got time for that right now. So we'll grab a couple hi-hats. We need some snare layers. So it's very important in this genre of music that we don't, go too light with the layers on our percussion, because this genre very much benefits from having those layers. So I'm going to create a couple of very short sounds, because I'm going to use these as some like intro drums. And once we get to the heavier side of the song, then we will switch out of these softer drums. So fine, I just want these to be dry, so I'm cutting out a lot of the reverb by changing the attack, decay, sustain, and release to pretty much dip that question a bit, or sorry, I was reading chat. Dip that reverb a bit. All right, cool. Oh, that's got a lot of tail on that kick drum. We gotta pull that off a bit. Like, look at that. That whole entire little nub at the end there is basically just a little bass. It's gonna be fine for us. All right. So I'm just gonna probably dot these in randomly and let my ears decide when something needs to change, because you know, off the top of my head, I don't exactly have a rhythmic idea for this track, and we have to consider the rhythm that the, you know, instruments are following. So we're gonna have to mess with that a little bit. Oh, I'm in halftime right now. That's actually kind of annoying because I'd rather not be. Okay, well, we'll do it. We'll lean into the trappier side of future bass, and we'll let this stay halftime for now. Oh, okay, no triplets in this one. Yeah, this is gonna be interesting for sure. So we'll do the kicks last. This should probably be okay for where we're going with this. It sounds very trappy, and that's not what I'm doing today, but it's all right. Pre-shift your hi-hats. They sound way better. I'm not even gonna elaborate on that. Just do it. Also, I definitely want to get my sidechain in there so I don't have to come back later. Okay, that's not. All right, that's fine. That's fine. It's a very basic beat here. At this point, I could totally decide to change our tempo. We could maybe experiment with a couple of different ones, since to me that's very slow. I mean, 120 halftime is rough. That's a little fast, but let's definitely meet in the middle a bit so that we don't put everyone to sleep, like myself. All right, cool. I need more automations going on now. So since we have some drums, I'm gonna do the mix on our reverb for our violins, as I mentioned before. Try and feel like this is starting to come to a point. Okay, I've messed this up. I need to swap my instruments. This wants to be here. Certainly. And then this wants to be down here. My bad. So this is going to mess with a lot of our automations and things since I'm moving MIDI around, but that's okay. We can just kind of reset them here, no problem. All right, I pre-shifted this as well. See, it's a little off the beat. I wanted things to be a little lazy. And now that we have this correct, I think I got other ideas for automation we can do here. So this Echo Boy that has the super fast, very kind of long feedback echo here, I'm going to let that feedback increase over time. So it's not going to start like that. Okay, okay, I just have to get rid of these because this is what's making it sound like a trap song. So that will help. Let's get a couple of other percussion sounds in here. I think that will help kind of fill out some of what's going on here. Rides are important because it's Christmas music. And then, I don't know, maybe choose some random percussion sounds here. I'm just gonna highlight some I don't even know the sound of. So beat the clock, right? Once again, I'm going to pre-shift these so they're a little closer where the hi-hats are. Louder. Trapkovsky. I do a trap remix of this song every year, and I've never thought of Trapkovsky. Can I pay you for that? Can I buy that from you? I do like the wood block. I'm gonna pre-shift it a bit. Fine. I don't know if I can. I don't really know if I can use the rest of this. It's okay. Okay, this is fine. It's just too loud. Okay, this is probably a little bit better for what we're trying to do here. This is becoming okay, but we do need to get a little bit of builds going. So let's automate that trash like I said we would. All right, so I think this is where we're going to try and drop it, even though this is still pretty early into the song. And so maybe we do a little like borrowed time, like add a whole measure that maybe doesn't really exist. Something like this. Oops. Hello, there we go. So we can start to do some more, you know, build-like things. But I definitely don't want this happening until the very, very end, right? Something like this. We're gonna have to make this work. We're gonna have to force this in there. See what I mean? Starting to kind of like, you know, fake people out a little bit. Why did no one tell me I was clipping? Huh? Huh? I relied on you. I'm sorry, I'm kidding. Let's make a build sound. So I'm going to copy an audio track in here, and we're going to find, you know, some cool sound, some cool sounds in plural. Like these guys are cool sounds. I like them. And we are going to, I need like a kick drum too. Let's get something kind of heavier in here. Yep, that's great. Scooch. All right, now we're going to put a bunch of reverb on this. You guys have probably seen me do this before. This is not uncommon. I'm going to switch this to now so I get more high end in this than there was before. Great. These need to be spaced out a little bit more, certainly. So let's do this before I freeze and flatten, and then we freeze and flatten. Bill loves the drum programming. Thanks. Appreciate it. I am clipping. Ah, darn it. Okay, here we go. Look how cool that is. Who needs to download this stuff? Who needs to pay Splice $1 for that? Sorry, I don't mean to like trash on Splice, but like, come on. It took 2 seconds. Oh, that one's bad. Is that really? Okay, no, that was just the sound of my CPU dying. That was very strange. We like the distortion. All right, cool. Let's get some of these in here, right? I'm gonna need to turn these down a lot. That's great and spooky. I'm gonna put even more reverb on this, because why not? Also, I forgot to remove the pre-delay, so we have some latency on that input there. It's all right, I can fix that. We're gonna probably use the same thing, but in reverse. Definitely want that to land right on just like that. And then again, we have a gap here. We can just kind of fix that. The natural fade option in Ableton will kind of fix this from clipping. The clip is not playing because you cut the start of the MIDI note. Which one? Wait, are you referring to this? Because this is off. Also, wait, what? Help. The clip is not playing because you cut the start of the MIDI note. I don't know which clip you're referring to. Who needs splice when we have cymatics? Oh no. What have I become? All right. I want more. We need layers. So let's add them. This is the wrong pitch. It's a little better. I don't want beats mode for that though. So we want this to end a little early, remember? I don't know if I like this anymore. Maybe if we do eighth notes instead of quarter notes. On the wavetable in my bass? Oh, you're referring to this? These little chunks? Yeah, I don't really need those, huh? This is the one I was most focused on. If we wanted to, we could just copy it from here. I think it's okay though. We'll get through it. We'll deal with it. I also want a sound that's rising in pitch. So we're gonna grab an operator. We are going to probably start that like in the last measure, basically. So I'm gonna start with a low note here. I'm gonna go to our like main overview of our operator and crank our pitch bend up to 24, which is not gonna be enough, but we'll do more later. And add our pitch bend here. Right, and this is going to end right at that last one anyway, so I should move my automation back. Right, starting to hear where this is going. So let's get some texture in this guy. One cool thing to do is put a version of this on fixed, because you're going to get different results as we bend through, you know, this one frequency. Things like that. Could also use it as an LFO. Things like this, right? Right, so a lot of different build options we have here. All right, so we'll probably even just do this whole thing. We're gonna try and trying to make this move fast. I'm also gonna definitely drench this in reverb so that we don't really hear how synthetic it is. The drop is already hype. The drop, there's no drop yet. I'm setting up a big expectation. See, something like that. Oh, fixed. What does the fixed button do? It means that no matter what note I play on the MIDI keyboard or, you know, in our MIDI grid, this oscillator is always going to send out the frequency on the knob over here, right? So for example, like our coarse and fine knobs change the pitch, you know, based on what note we're playing. But when I click fixed, look how coarse and frequent or coarse and fine turns into frequency and multi. So multi is your harmonic series position. Don't worry too much about that. 1 is just standard. And then, yeah, you can set a very, very direct frequency, which just means that no matter what note on the piano I play, it's always going to push this frequency through. And the reason that works in the way that it does for this is because I have one oscillator changing over time while the oscillator that affects it is changing in a different direction, right? So this has just become like an atonal sound effect, essentially. Right, so we've got something a little bit more intense going on there. I'm also going to filter this because I don't want all that sub in there. So I'll let this kind of do it like this. So this is kind of how we're doing that. Yeah, kind of drone-like a little bit. I'll get a reverse version of this in here as well because I like it. I think it's one of the cooler ones we have. Right, and I don't want any of this reverb playing when the bass jumps in. So I'm gonna automate my on-off switch here. This is another thing out of laziness. I have like no time left. I have 20 minutes left. What am I doing? All right, we need to get onto this drop here, right? So the next part of the song is this. So this is what we're gonna kind of use as our drop. Because this is what we've been listening to. So this is gonna repeat more than once. Probably something like that. And this is gonna be hopefully the length of our drop. Right, so step 1 is get some drums in here that are a little bit bigger than what we have going on here now. So I'm honestly probably just gonna layer just because I don't have all that much time here. Honestly, sure. I'm gonna use this filter here to get rid of some of the sub just in case they fight each other. I really just want the stompy upper stuff to layer with our kick here. You can hear that. It's a little more intense, I guess. The other thing I could do is turn our regular kick drum up a bit. I'm about to start clipping again. And then turn the kick drum down in the intro a little bit. From here. That's fine. Great, now I just need a bigger snare for now. That's bigger. I want something with a big tail too. That's not a clap. This is fine. Yeah, we'll use a cymatic snare. Give him a lot of credit for this one. We don't need this anymore, and we don't need that anymore. Yeah, this is like a dubstep snare. This is going to be an interesting piece of music we've got here. So I do kind of want a different bass now, and this is future bass music. So I'm going to use an 808. It's kind of like one of two options that you have here. Tchaikovsky. Yeah, the drop is hot already. Tchaikovsky, Madman. That's why I love doing this with this song, because it's already just kind of doing it itself. Right? I don't really like the little like dubstep movement coming from our FM filter in the sampler, so I'm going to turn that off. Just get kind of straight notes, but I do want this big pitch bend. Right? And I'm also going to turn down the metal sample. That thing is kind of annoying. It's okay. I am like clipping a lot. I apologize. I'm sure this sounds kind of rough through the conversion. It's a little better. You know what? Why don't I just, I'll just do the ultra lazy thing and add just a limiter right at the end there. It's all right. Like it never happened. All right. So I am following a bit of a trap progression here, but I promise this is going to change here. So now we have a bass we're okay with. I'll just leave that there momentarily. And I am going to use one of my secret weapons for these types of future bass synths. And I don't know if I've ever put this on stream before. So This will be kind of interesting. This is kind of a rabbit hole to get to. However, the tool I'm using is housed within Native Instruments Reactor, which has a lot of things in it. You know, this is not the only option. This is not it either. What I'm using is called Razor, and Razor is a very unique form of synthesis that really focuses on like a bunch of sine waves that are already oscillating and applying filters and changes to those things. So it's very much like a formant focused, a harmonic focused VST, kind of like how FM works, but it's definitely nuanced and unique. So I'm going to start with a basic initialized patch. So this is kind of like what the default for this tool sounds like. You know, very similar to what we're used to, either being like a default saw wave or a default sine wave, but this is kind of like an FM style saw wave, right? And so how we're going to use this is I'm going to switch these to formant filters. So there's going to create unique expanses of harmonics in these shapes. So like right away, you can hear as I change these. A lot of different options. Is it form? This is Razor. Form is from, form is a different thing in here. Razor's a little bit older. So I want to be able to play chords with this, so I got to change my voicing options here. And then we have a glide feature, which means we're getting weird like portamento. I don't want that either. So you can hear it kind of sounds like a formant filter. It sounds like it's coming through a voice. I have some filter options I can use to adjust that myself. And then we have some comb filters, which is where you can really get some cool textures in the sound. Also, with our phase option, this is how I can get movement in a lot of the sounds that we're going to end up using. So I'm going to apply an envelope to this phase, right? So we can hear that when I play something. It's not fast enough. There we go. We get that kind of movement here. I could apply this to our oscillators as well. However, it's not going to help as much. I'll show you why momentarily. Similar to like Wavetable or Serum, we have a safe bass option. It's like a sub oscillator essentially. And I can make this very bright. So I'm going to use this to blend in a little bit more like saw texture into you know, the actual sound. And then we have these fantastic reverb devices that allow me to very digitally, very softly, you know, get a very much softer texture in here for sure. Right, very wide as well. And I want to apply envelopes to our formant side as well, because you'll hear when I turn this off, this is where our texture is coming from, right? This is our soft synth, so I can turn that off while we design our texture. I need these going the other way. I kind of like that. It's a little pretty interesting there. I like the screechy sounds that are coming from this. It's kind of interesting. We'll see if it works with the style of music we're creating, but I like it for now. Right, so we can kind of decide how much of this we want. And we have an amp envelope, so if we wanted to kind of create, you know, our sort of like future-based stab style sounds, we can do that here. So we'll see if we can incorporate, you know, some of this into the song here. Now I'm probably going to end up having to change this MIDI to make this make sense genre-wise. Yeah, like listen to that. What happened? Did it reset my sound? It reset my sound. Does anybody know why my Ableton is like losing its mind today? Anybody? Anybody at all? Like I didn't black out, right? I just designed a synth in Razor. We all just watched that. What? Anybody? What the heck? Can I have it back? Is it somewhere else? Did I? What? Guys, I'm upset. It just. What the? What? Okay. Okay, so I guess we're gonna do that one more time. This is not going great for my like time limit, is it? What the heck, man? I'm real confused. Okay, so it's resetting every time I hit the spacebar. I don't know if you're noticing that. I'm changing something, I'm hitting spacebar, and it goes back. What? So what that tells me, potentially, no, that doesn't make sense. I actually have no idea what's going on. Nothing is being automated. Maybe Max is pranking you. Max is in Germany. How do I, guys, I don't like what's happening right now. I'm like losing it. We're gonna try reactor 5. I don't like reactor 6 right now. Okay. Activate button? Cannot. Did it work? This is falling apart very quickly. Use a serum preset. No, I was going to actually use a serum preset. I don't know if I even have any serum presets that do this. All right, default sound. Change a thing, hit spacebar, and it changes it back. Yo, this is not cool. I'm not happy right now. Is it really just this note right here? Like it doesn't make sense that it would be that, but no, it's not that. I have no idea. I'm blaming Ableton, man. Ableton's been having a lot of problems lately. Like, you know, with a little bit of offense intended, Ableton needs to get their stuff together. What's going on? Unimpressed. All right, everybody move to Logic. We're all switching to Logic now. No more Ableton. It's being retired. All right, sorry. I'm gonna stop talking crap. Use a serum preset. Anyone know the name of a serum preset that's gonna fit here? I never use serum, like ever. Okay, I'll make this work. So this is gonna be not normal, right? We're not really going to, spacebar might be the reset option on Razer, but it does it even when Razer's not actively being sent a signal. Like I close the window and it still does it. Spacebar, yeah, I don't know. That'd be a little wild. But also like Razer, I don't know. Like Control Z deletes my machine. That's so stupid. The music software world gets a little bit messy here for sure. So we're not going to use this the way that, you know, it looks like we're going to use this. We're going to let these chords be held. I've never actually had that issue before. I don't really understand what's going on here. I'm also running out of time. Also, I disappeared again. Yo, I don't I promise it's not my computer. Maybe it's like a, no, I don't know. I want an answer. Why did I disappear again too? I didn't hit any of these buttons. All right, whatever. We're going to fail again today. I'm gonna fail. The timer. Look, I got 7 minutes. I got 7 minutes. This has gone downhill very quickly. Okay, let me play it back real quick. I need to like refresh my brain. That very much sent me for a loop. So. All right, yeah, it's not exactly where this needs to be. Okay, so I did have an idea for this middle part, which should be longer, to be fair. I don't give the song enough time to kind of establish itself. So, you know, not great, but that's okay. We're gonna put a sampler down here. I'm gonna go into some brass samples and we are going to distort them and add a bit. It actually doesn't matter which one I choose because we are going to kind of replace the brass texture on this by drowning it in reverb, as you've seen me do a million times to a million different things, and then adding some distortion afterwards. So I like our Pico's rat model here. You can hear what that's given me. Right, so that's kind of more where I was going with. And that's going to be for this middle section. Maybe we'll try 1 octave up first. That's fine. I guess that starts on a B flat, so. This horn is not tuned. No, it definitely sounds tuned. Okay, that's fine. I'll just do an E again then. Won't be doing that. So, look, we got at the very beginning of this phrase, we have a C major chord. So, I don't know, maybe I'll put a dang C there. Why is it a B flat in the bass? This song is cool. It's so weird. It's so strange. Maybe we'll just cut the bass out here so it doesn't sound as weird. All right, fine. We're changing the bass in the song. Bump. Oh, it's an F sharp there? It's so strange. It still wants to be an E though. We'll just hold the F. I'm done. I'm done making bad decisions. All right, cool. So now we can kind of go back to focusing on this, although I'm not going to get to it this time. So maybe we'll actually use this next time and focus more on our drop. The one thing I do want to do though is not use this sound. I don't know. At this point, the Serum presets, I can't be arsed. Skrillex poop? I made this? Interesting. So maybe we'll start with designing some sounds in Serum next time. There's a couple of cool things you can do. Like comb filters. Comb filters in Serum are really fun. Hello? Because if we crank the resonance all the way, it becomes very, takes over the sound, right? We can do some really cool things with that. So I'm going to mess around with that a little bit next time. But unfortunately, that is going to be next time because I failed once again with the beat the clock thing. That's okay. We had fun today. That was kind of the idea, just having some fun. You know, don't take things too seriously, guys. There's no reason to. So yeah, you know, I appreciate you guys keeping up with me in the chat, It's always fun to do these streams. I'll probably pick this one back up again next time. We'll see how it goes. I might have other ideas for next Thursday, which we will meet. I will stream next Thursday. So yeah, don't forget, we've got a physical location here in New York City, also in Berlin. So if you're looking to attend classes with us, get a little bit deeper into it, reach out to us via email or check out our website and you can see all of our class packages there. We got Decapitator for our weekly giveaway, so definitely make sure you're in the running for that. Decapitator is a fantastic tool. It's just kind of like a put it on everything, make it sound better. One of those, So yeah, check that out. I'm gonna hang out and chat for just a moment if you guys got any other questions or comments. But other than that, that's it for me. So I will see you guys next time. Peace.